For this next lab, we're looking at finding the densities of some irregular shaped items. So in order to do that, we have to find both the volume and the mass. In order to find volume, we're going to start with placing some liquid into our graduated cylinder. So I've got some liquid here. I'm going to go ahead and put that in here, and we're going to record this as our starting amount. So I've got our liquid here. I know it's difficult to read here, so I'm going to let you know what it says, but I have 75 milliliters in here. And then I'm going to place the item in here. So I'm going to start with the copper rod. And the water level has gone up. It's now 82. So you're going to record that as your ending amount. And then you're going to have to do a subtraction problem. So you're going to look at how much water did we start with originally, our starting, our ending, and go ahead and do the subtraction to find out exactly how much the water rose by. That gives us the volume of our irregular shaped item. Our next item, again, we have to have a starting volume. So we place some water into our graduated cylinder. And I have 80 milliliters in there. This time I'm going to place this bolt in there. So we start at 80 and we end at 88. So the difference there becomes the volume of the object only. And so if you do the math, you should have written down 8. It is 8. Because it's a solid object, your label is not going to be in milliliters. Your label is actually going to be in cubic centimeters. So that's centimeters with the little tiny 3. Now we're going to work on our third strange looking item. So again, we start with a beginning amount. And so I have 65 milliliters in here. And our displaced water, that's an important vocab word. When I place this in here, our water level is now looks about like 70. So 70 milliliters is our new one. So go ahead and do the subtraction problem so that you can solve for your volume. Milliliters is what we used water to help us. And then we convert that to cubic centimeters because we know it's a solid object. So the next thing we have to do is we're going to find the mass of each of these items. So here's our scale, and we're going to place these items onto the scale. So we turn that on. And of course, I've got to get all my items here. And I got to make sure they're all nice and dry. So we don't want the water impacting our mass. So you should be documenting this information in the mass column. And remember, all of this assignment is submitted digitally. So you should find a Word document that is titled The Densities of Irregular Objects. So I'm going to start with the black circular ring. It's a nylon spacer. And so I've already zeroed it out. And it is 6.6 grams. So now that you know the volume of this item and you know its mass, you can use the formula to solve for that. The mass of our copper rod, 56.6 grams. And finally, the mass of our large screw or bolt, 57.0 grams. Don't forget, as you're looking at solving for the volume, remember that in order to find in order to find density, D stands for density, and density is equal to mass divided by volume. Okay, so density is equal to mass divided by volume. So you're going to type into a calculator what you have for your mass. And then you're going to hit the divide sign. And then you're going to hit the what your volume was. If there are decimals, include decimals. And then you're going to hit the equal sign. You're going to get a number. That number is your density. Remember, the label for density is grams per cubic centimeter. And so we show that with a G, a slash, and then the C, M, and the little tiny 3. Make sure you submit this assignment digitally and let your teacher know so that he or she can go ahead and score it.